What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Sunday where we're going to be reviewing, it's a spoiler review, spoiler alert, of The Northman. It was a really freaking good movie. I'm so excited to be talking about this finally, and I'm joined by my real good friend, the beautiful Jane Theory.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here, and finally, I'm able to finally talk about The Northman, because I saw it like a week before everybody else, and I was like, I can't talk about it. I can't say anything. It was hell not being able to talk about it because I really enjoyed the movie. Jane, before we get started though, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me here on YouTube where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
That's right. It's the one and only Jane Theory. She's awesome.
Say the line, Bart. I didn't do it.
Before you introduce yourself, say your line.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Bonzo knows that was coming. Bonzo knows. Oh my God. Low water mark for $25. Right. Gates. Thank you so much for that generous $25, man. Hey, Nina and Jane came over from Ryan's Sunday stream. Love you both. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Watermark. You are always welcome here. I hope you've seen the movie because this is going to get into the nitty gritty. There's so much stuff to talk about. Okay, let's start.
It is
so much stuff to talk about. Thank you so much, Low Watermark. You're amazing. Jane.
Yes.
Initial thoughts.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. It felt like I was watching a fairy tale, only the old-fashioned, really, really dark version.
The really, really good kind.
Yeah, the really good kind.
Hi,
pre-Disney kind.
Yeah, definitely. Spike and Madness says, I'm a Ryan Raider too. Thanks, Spike. Oh my God, me too, Jane. And you know what? The craziest thing about it is like right off the bat when I started watching it, I hadn't seen the second trailer because I had seen this first one. So in the first trailer, it doesn't really show what's going on. Like you don't really know what's going on going in. So when I went in, I didn't realize that, again, this is going to be a spoiler alert for people. So I didn't know that his uncle was going to be the murderer kind of thing. And so like when I went in and I saw it and everything happens pretty quickly within the first, like the setup of the story is pretty quick. So it happens within like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, this is kind of familiar. Like, is this Hamlet? Like, I was just
exactly. Like, that's what I was thinking.
I'm like, are we looking at Hamlet here? Like, I don't understand what's going on. And then, so then when the movie was done, I was like, this was Hamlet. I was like, this is definitely, it had a mix of Hamlet and Macbeth, because you had like that Macbeth vibe with the queen and everything like that. So then I went and looked it up, and it's true. Like it was apparently based on a old Norse tale that's what Shakespeare took inspiration to write Hamlet. So that I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, not so much so, because in every culture we kind of have that story. It's an age-old story. It's been told over and over again. And while it's nothing new, it also shows that the classic tales are classic for a reason, and that you can still retell them and people will watch and enjoy and love these age-old stories for a reason. And it's okay to go back to the classics and stop subverting expectations and like all this stuff.
And they even reference that in the story. I mean, in the very beginning, one of the things the wife mentions is an older story of the son having to kill his uncle for the crown type situation. So I love that. I mean, I think like you said, these stories, they resonate through time and
Mhm.
place for a reason. They are morality tales of sorts. They're entertaining. They're, I don't know, they capture so much of the human experience. There's just no way around it. There's nothing new under the sun, but how they chose to present the story this way in this particular time period with these people and culture
Mhm.
just added extra layers to it that made
Yes.
it amazing.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, the cast was absolutely just like stunning. Like some of the cast, I mean, obviously Alexander Skarsgård just
Yes.
blew it out of the
Yes.
water. I mean, so good in every way possible. I expected it, but it was like, just seeing him be that person was so good. And then of course there was Willem Dafoe, Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman, the uncle, I don't know
Who
who the uncle is. The uncle was
really shocked
great.
me. Nicole, I like Nicole, but I mean, how she performed in this film was truly amazing. Like
Yes.
I did not see it coming.
I
Like
didn't
this.
either because usually Nicole Kidman is kind of like, I mean, I know Nicole Kidman's a good actress, but usually she does very like, when I watch a movie, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's Nicole Kidman." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just kinda like a one note, a little bit, and, sometimes she takes it a little bit more than that, and this performance was that. Like, it was
Has she
just
ever been a villain though? Like,
I
has
don't
she
know,
been
has
more
she?
I
She been
don't
a
think
villain?
so.
I remember she was a villain in something. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I
I don't
don't
know. She's
know.
played in so many movies. It's just been but she's so good.
She
Like,
was very good. I was shocked.
yeah. Like, the last thing I saw her in was, Big Little Lies. Did you ever see that?
I didn't know.
That was good. The first season of that is good. Zoe Kravitz is in that too. The first season was really, really good. It's based on the book, and then it did so well that they were like, "We're making a season 2," even though it was completely unnecessary. They made a season 2, but it was pretty good. I do recommend it for you. I think you would like it.
Okay.
But it just generally speaking, when I saw like because what Big Little Lies though, that's in her wheelhouse. You know what I mean? Like it
Mm,
was like she was really good in it, but it was in her wheelhouse.
yeah.
Whereas in this was just so
It's like they
different.
pushed her out of her comfort zone, I think, a little bit.
Exactly. I think you're exactly right. I think they pushed her out of her comfort zone and she was just so different and it was really well done. The way she did
Mhm.
everything was really good. And in fact, her character was probably the most complicated character in the movie
Yeah.
because me and my husband went and saw it together and in the end we had like a couple of hours discussion based on what happened with her. And which is I'm excited to talk to you about because I want to know what you thought. Yes, she is excellent in The Others. I really love
Yeah.
that movie too. The,
Yeah.
the Others is so good. Back when movies were good. Yes.
Right.
Um, I forgot that she was in
Oh my
Aquaman.
god, she was an Aquaman, the mom.
She was the mom. I forgot that she was even in it. Like completely forgot. And now,
She's gone from good mother to complicated, terrible. I
um,
still felt bad for her though in a weird way.
like the mom.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the mom or Nicole Kidman
The
because
mom.
She's got she's got a sordid history too. But you know what? Before we get into it a little bit more, Jane,
Mhm.
I want to bring this up before we get into it because I shared this with you in the Sunday
Yeah.
thread, and I thought this was
Oh my
funny.
god. It's just so I think this is a case sort of like what we've seen with other films that the old school or traditional fan base enjoy. They
Mhm.
have to come up with some reason to tear it down,
Yes.
and there's really nothing there because it's a good story, well done, great actors. So the only thing they can say is, "Oh well, it's all white."
It's
So,
all white. That's the
so
problem with it.
it's
There's too
right.
many damn white people. She's even riding a damn white horse, okay? Like
How dare she? How dare she be blonde too?
she was like Slavic in the freaking
Right,
show.
like, I mean, she was literally the only blonde, I think, that I even saw, but
Yeah.
and it was highlighted for a reason to contrast her actual ethnic background with her
Yep.
existence in this culture. I mean, they missed the entire point of her in
Yeah.
the film. It
like
was so
so
stupid.
badly they missed the point that it's comical at this point. The other thing
Yeah.
that made me laugh was this, like, committed mothers. I'm like, is this
Like,
gonna be a
what?
troll at this point? Like,
They
what is this?
they have not seen the movie.
And you know what's funny is I was thinking to myself that like that was the thing that we were debating with my husband. I was like, this is very debatable, like in terms of like if she was a committed mother or not.
No?
You clearly haven't really watched the movie because I don't know if she was a committed mother. She was definitely committed to one of her children,
Yeah.
but the other not
Not so
so
much.
much. I
Not so
don't
much.
know.
And that's the thing too, like, not to get too much off topic, but I liked a couple of things. Having visited Iceland and
Mm,
learning the history of how these people were enslaved, how a lot of the population of Iceland was in fact slaves and indentured servants,
mhm,
um, into the modern era, arguably, up until the world wars. To see that depicted, I think it opened, or should have, you would think, opened the eyes of a lot of these people on the left who like to view quote unquote minorities
mhm,
or people of color as the only people who've dealt with this, when in reality, it was a global issue.
mm,
And all cultures, no matter how white or black or whatever, have had to deal with these very questions of slavery and then children born of slaves and
mhm.
what happens to them, how they're treated in their community, by their mothers who raised them, and what are the lasting effects of it. Like, this film hit on so many different levels. It's so complex. And when I see articles like this, it just reduces it to the most simplistic, stupid aspect of conversation that people could possibly have when there's so
Well,
many other more important things to talk about with this film.
exactly, and one of the things that and obviously, again, it takes away from so many things when it comes to this movie when you see a headline like this is that,
Mhm.
as film reviewers, the journalists have gone so far away from what an actual movie review should be, which is, was it a good movie? What can you
Right.
s should you go to the movies and spend money on this thing because you get, 2 hours of your life goes to, you know, seeing what kind of cinematography, what kind of music, what kind of acting, what kind of,
Mhm.
what a movie actually entails versus, oh, white supremacists hijack the
Mm.
Northman. And, the review is not of, technically the review is not of the movie. It's the review of the fans who
Right.
like this movie. It has nothing to do with the actual movie. Like this headline is saying that this movie, which could be a good movie for all you know,
Right.
is being hijacked for
It's
nefarious
like,
purposes. This is crazy.
but I wonder if that is their part of their logic, like, they think that they can beat white supremacy by not having white people in things,
Mm.
and I'm like, that is the dumbest that's the dumbest approach to dealing with racism I've ever heard.
I mean, racism in this movie is just. I mean, I knew that they were going to come out with something like this, but whenever you still see it, you're just kind of like, really?
Yeah.
This is where you went with this?
And the funny thing is, it's the blonde girl that's been discriminated against by the other people.
I
And the Christians are hated on too in this film.
Well, the Christians are now, for some reason, kind of hated on in general. Like,
This is
I don't
true.
know. I don't know if you noticed, but like Google didn't put like an Easter thing. Like, you know how they always do that? Like,
Yeah, I saw.
the special thing. They didn't do it for
Yeah, they
Easter.
didn't
And I
do
was like,
that. We can't have that.
I mean, it's pretty mean. I mean, it's pretty like, it's saying something without saying
Mhm.
something. Uh
Yeah, so crazy. But I mean, and the other thing too is I hate when these sorts of articles focus on like a handful of crazy people. I don't
right.
doubt that there are some crazy neo-Nazi wannabes who see anything Norse
Hmm.
and lose it. But that's not the majority of the people praising this film. This
No.
film is just a good movie, and that's why
Yes.
people like it.
And you know what? To that end, let's talk about the Northmen because, I mean, we just talked about what it's
Ugh,
like, what other stories have been based on the
mhm.
Northmen, like Hamlet and to some extent Macbeth. I think that this movie was a masterpiece, and
Really?
not in so many words, in 2022, I was gonna say 2021 because I'm still stuck in that, era apparently, but in 2022, I feel like this movie is a freaking masterpiece, on so many levels.
Mhm.
Ian Peter, Division, thank you so much for the $10, says, "Poverty is" what?
Commercialized?
Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Commercialized. Huh.
Hmm.
That's an interesting statement. I I could yes. Yeah, sometimes it is. Yes. Yes, it is. Um, thank you. Thank you for that $10. But it's a masterpiece on so many levels.
Mhm.
The cinematography alone is
Oh,
just it's something to behold. This movie has to be watched in the theater. So if you
yeah,
guys have not seen it in the theater, please go and watch it in the theater. It's an experience.
it is.
It is movie magic.
I
It is.
audibly gasped, like, in several scenes.
Me too. Me too. There was definitely some scenes. I mean, even when like I knew something was going to happen and when it happened, I was like, like, like I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my God. Like there was just so many things in the movie. And then they go from very grounded, very
Mhm.
realistic stuff to portraying like the paranormal and like the
Yeah.
ideas that goes be like into legend and folklore and representing these ideas that are legend and folklore and
Mhm.
how they go about it because one could argue that nothing in it was paranormal, that everything was maybe in his mind or in others' minds, or
Right.
because of the way that it's been shot and the information
Oh,
presented, you don't actually know what's happening. So I'm going to ask you, Jane, do
yeah.
you think that some of the stuff that happened in the
Mhm.
movie was it actually happening to him? Like was he seeing these visions, or do you think these were like drug induced visions, or things like that, like adrenaline and you know
I I like that you mentioned the drug because we do see them consume different substances,
mhm.
throughout that have an effect, and we know that in ancient cultures, in early cultures, pre-industrial, um, they use those things to enhance their religion, their faith,
Mhm. Yep.
to create these visions, to give them, whatever strength internally they needed. So in his case, I think, I sort of I I lean on the side of believing that he was in touch with some supernatural aspect because I do believe in that. So I think
I
he
do
was in
too.
contact with that. I think that those were very real experiences. Um, were they partially drug induced? Probably. But
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
a little bit. But I think these were very real experiences. The prophecy in particular, I think was real, and he fulfilled that, and he was patient enough to wait until it was time to do it.
I agree. I think that it was a mixed thing for me too. Like for example, with the prophecy and
Mhm.
the original oracle that he saw, I
Right.
thought was real. I thought it was a real vision, not that it
Mhm.
was so much drug induced, but like the one that he saw as an adult, especially, I thought was not the one that he saw as a child. Yes, because he was consuming something like that drink with his
Yeah.
father. So the one that he saw as a child, I think it was more hallucinogenic than anything else. But at the same time, like you said, in ancient cultures, they used to do this in order to kind of like close the barrier between spirit realm and
Mhm.
the physical realm. And they were a lot more in touch spiritually with the spiritual realm. So I think that a lot of times they did connect with something ethereal or
Right.
whatever you want to call that. I mean, this happens in native experiences as well.
Mhm.
Like native tribes have had these experiences, Middle Eastern tribes have had these experiences. There's a lot of stories there. Um, and I think that those are the things that really make this movie special because you don't know. You still
Yeah.
and they've done it so well where you're like you're kind of left wondering, was this real or was it not? And
Mhm.
I lean towards both. I think some things were real and some things were not. For example, the other thing that I thought was not so real, even though I think he saw it, was his battle in getting that sword.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I didn't think, like, I didn't think it was real, and the way that it was shot, if you notice, and I've
Mhm.
only seen this movie once. Like, I wanna go back and revisit this because I think I'll pick more stuff up. But I remember when he was kinda, like, battling him, in the
Mhm.
end, he went and picked up the sword, and he was still sitting there, and he kinda, like,
Right.
fell into dust. So I think that the battle was in his mind. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think that that actually occurred. What do you think about that scene?
No, I think that was probably an example of one of those, times when the battle was taking place in his own mind. I agree with you there. Um, but I don't know, it was interesting how it was shot and the aspect of the moon being important for some reason. Um, but yeah, that scene, thinking back about it, probably did take place in his mind to some
Mhm.
degree. Um, and it was maybe an internal battle. Maybe these things represented something else. Like that's the thing about this film. Like you said, you kind of have to watch it again to catch the different layers to it in terms
There's
of what
so
all these
many.
different scenes meant.
Yes. Yes. And one of the layers I thought, and it was so beautifully told, was their love story and
Oh,
how,
yeah.
this idea that women are stronger than men,
Mhm.
and like in the modern times, and what we often talk about when we review Marvel shows here, and how, or like, current Star Wars, or current, like, anything really, if you really think about it, it's pretty much in anything that women are stronger than men, and that women can do anything a man can do, and
Right.
those kind of things. I feel like this movie really portrayed well what a man and a woman can accomplish together when they use their own strengths, because we both
Exactly.
have our own strengths, and together we make a good team. Like,
I agree. I agree. And I think that's one of the things that they really hate about this movie.
Mhm.
Because they sort of I think the race thing is just a cover of sorts for the real problem they have, which is how genders are portrayed. But like you said, each has their own strength, and the women in this film are incredibly strong women.
Mhm.
The star, the love interest, it I mean, every scene she's in, she exudes power and intelligence and all
Mhm.
these things, but she's also supportive. She's also clearly warm as a person, um, but she's protective of herself as she would have to be, especially being a female slave in society, any society. So
That's
she
right.
had to be able to be strong and smart and quick. But I loved also that she appears to use magic of sorts or some sort of
Mm.
mysticism to get her way in the world as well, which contrasts with the males who are much more physical in how they exert power and how they protect themselves and their families. I also liked with Nicole Kidman's character, there are several scenes where she has to pick up a knife. She's a queen, right? She's generally protected, but when it comes down to it and the men folk have to go off and fight each other,
Mhm.
she has to pick up a knife or a sword or whatever she has by to protect herself and her kids. So, it's complex in how these characters are portrayed, but I can see how a lot of people on the left would absolutely hate it because the women are still very feminine despite being strong, and the men are incredibly strong and emotional,
Mhm.
but very masculine.
Yes, and I really liked how at the very beginning of the story, when he's, in that kind of like drug induced vision with his father,
Mhm.
I think it was, I forget if it was the father or the wizard or whatever, I don't know what
The
he's called,
shaman.
the shaman. If the shaman was the one that told him, like, you will find a woman, because a woman is the you need to use the words and the wisdom of woman to get to where you're going. Like,
His
you will
father.
need, it was his father, that's
Mhm.
right. So his father told him that, And I thought that was so interesting, like the way
Mhm.
that he had put that, like he was saying, like, you are, even though you're a strong man and you're a warrior and you're going to become
Mhm.
who you are become, you're meant to be a king, you will need the wisdom of a woman to
Mhm.
get you where you are supposed to go. And
Partnership.
it was so fascinating. And the way, I mean, the way this movie was written too, I mean, the dialogue, the writing, the just everything,
Every
so
scene.
so good.
No moment was wasted.
Not a single one. The Uber Geek, thank you so much for the 10, says, I loved The Northman. The story itself is actually a combination of Shakespeare's Hamlet and the original story of the character that Hamlet is based upon, Amleth, written by
Mm.
Saxo Grammaticus. Yeah, that's, we were talking about that early on. I think it's a mix. I think it's a mix of, I personally think so, because I really think that, and we're going to get into this a little bit, but I think that it has some mixes of Macbeth in it as well. I really do. And I don't know, maybe Shakespeare was inspired by that story to tell the Macbeth story as well. But the idea of that queen and what she
Yeah.
did, we're gonna talk about
We're
that.
gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, but there's still there's a build up here.
There's
So
so much, though. There's
yeah,
so
there's so much to talk about. We're gonna get there, but thank you, the Uber Geek. He's right. Check that out. And you know what else, you guys? Just so you know, um, Andre, who is a Northman from Midnight's Edge, is going to be putting out a video about this very fact and the history and the accuracy of the Northmen according to Norse lore.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fascinating video. I highly recommend you guys sub to Midnight's Edge and definitely check out that video when Andre puts out. I'm going to. I cannot wait for him to kind of break that down. That's going to be really cool. Thank you again, Uber Geek. And also another very, very
Woo!
generous super chat here from Declan Linos, who says, for 20, I loved it. I loved the action, the locations, the main cast, the paranormal elements, especially retrieving the sword and the final
Yeah.
confrontation. I couldn't stand the Berserker ritual. It was cringy Viking line dancing. And yes, there's so much good and
But
so much crazy in this. It was
here's
so
the
good.
thing, though. That was probably, I don't know for sure, but that was probably one of the things I can believe is authentic. And the reason why I say that is because you see some variation of that across human cultures. It's like the further back you go, the more similarities you see in just ancient people and how they did this, like their rituals and things.
Mhm.
I thought it was just incredible.
Which ritual are you guys talking about? Because which one's the Berserker ritual? Because there was a couple in this. There was one where obviously he's like young and he's doing
Mhm.
that thing with his dad, and then there was another one when he's with the tribe that he's with, and they're like, dancing and
I was
doing
thinking of
like,
the tribal one.
hmm.
I was thinking the tribal one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I thought that tribal one was really, I thought it was close to like what was like what's going on in real life. But you know what? Who knows? Who knows? I wasn't there. I wasn't alive back then. Even though most people want to think I'm a vampire, I'm not immortal. I wasn't
Sure.
around.
You were in Persia, ancient Persia at the time.
Interestingly, you bring that up, but you know what's so crazy is because we have our own tales too. So there's
Mhm.
certain things that after this, I was thinking about some tales from Iran that I was like, that reminded me of this as well, and I'll talk about that later. But go ahead, Jen.
Real quick, I that was the other thing that I mentioned when I saw that article from earlier, is
Hmm.
that there this is what I can't stand about Hollywood. They'll create a show that's set in Europe, right? And you cast Europeans in the show,
Hmm.
and they get mad that people enjoy it. But they could just as if they really believed in diversity.
Hmm.
There's a world of stories out there that they could tell
Yes.
exactly like this one from anywhere in the or others, and you could have cast whoever you want, but they
Yup.
choose to ignore all of those. So don't get mad if you focus a story in, ancient Europe or something, and that's what people want to see on the screen accurately portrayed.
Exactly. And like what you said, I was thinking about all this stuff about like my culture and like
Mhm.
how we have so many stories. None of these stories have been told. The only stories that get told now from Iran is the crazy, terrorist like stories and like the
Right.
crazy modern like stories. And I'm like, ancient Iran has so many stories that is like
It
really,
would be
really
so cool
cool.
to
And,
see.
and, and we don't see any of that kind of stuff, which is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Um, uh, Declan sends another $5. Thank you so much. The one before the raid in Russia. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
They danced like my uncle who had never played dance. Oh my goodness. That's funny. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, Declan. Oh my god. I can see why you like were cringing then because you see your dad or your uncle doing that kind of thing. You're like, oh no. Oh, that's funny. Gunner for
Yes.
20, thank you. I got reminded of Apocalypto. Did you watch that? A long time ago. I saw that
Amazing.
a long time ago. I should rewatch that though. I should
Yeah.
definitely rewatch that. Holy schmoly.
Woo!
Shablablamoy. Holy my goodness, you have taken words out of my mouth. That is so freaking generous. Just to say Persian art is wonderful. Thank you, Ian Peter Davison. I think so too. I love Persian art. It's one of my favorite kinds of art in the world. Persians have such cool stories and art and culture, and there's just so much more to our culture than the like the West knows about, which is really
Yeah.
sad because we could we have so much to offer this world, and
Yeah.
every culture does. I mean,
Mhm.
like that's one of the things that I talk about constantly about African culture. Like
Yeah.
there's so much royalty and past and history and all this kind of really cool stuff in African culture, yet they're always like, let's say for example with The Witcher, like they're like,
Mhm.
oh, let's go and put like black people in this
Yeah.
in
Let's
this
just race swap some characters for no reason.
for absolutely no reason. And when it's completely unnecessary, and then it's like, okay, well, it is what it is, I guess. But
Yeah.
you could have the Northman. That's what you could have. You could have
Mhm.
The Witcher be something like the Northman, where that's what people wanted to see from
Yeah.
Netflix, especially because Netflix has done nitty gritty, dark, crazy stuff. It's not like it's
Mhm.
Disney Plus. We're expecting blood. We're expecting nudity. We're expecting all this stuff. So like if they did something that's actually close to the culture, and you see this thing come to life, they could have had a Game of Thrones. They could
Yeah.
have had the real Geralt and this crazy world that was created. Instead, they chose to go woke. And who's talking about The Witcher now?
Yeah.
Anyone? I feel like I need that cricket sound right now. I've nobody's talking about the freaking Witcher.
No.
But this movie, mark my words, is going to be talked about for a long, long time.
It's a
Um,
classic already,
It's
as far as I'm
it's an
concerned.
instant classic. I mean, it's an instant classic because of the story. The
Mhm.
story is already a classic. This
Yeah.
is a modern retelling of that story, but done the right way.
Yes.
Done the way that we constantly ask for. Why can't you tell our stories the way we want you to? This is it, people. This is it. I'm sorry, I'm getting so passionate because I love movies. I love movies so much, and it's like you there's nothing, man. There's nothing. Our well is dry. The
Mhm.
the, the ocean is dry of this creativity. Like it's no longer even the well anymore. It's the ocean. It is freaking it's a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
And then there comes this, and you're like, where has this been?
Right.
Where is this creativity? Where is this? It's still around. It's still around apparently. Just we just
Well,
have to really try. And then of course you have an uphill battle when you do try.
people are gonna
Because
hate
white
it.
supremacists like your
Yeah.
movie. Thank again, Ian. My God, I thank you, man. Thank you so much. That was so generous. I again, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The Uber Geek for 5 says if Hollywood wanted to show and Iran in a cool way, show the Sarmatian knights, who were incorporated into the Roman military to help expand the empire. Yes.
Listen, King Arthur 2004 featured the Sarmatian Knights. Loved how they were incorporated into that story.
So cool.
So amazing. But you're exactly right. That's the sort of thing they could do. Deep dive into other cultures because this is such a cool time period. And the
Mhm.
reality is, we've seen Rome, we've seen civilization, Egypt, and all that. And that's nice and all. But people really like the nitty gritty, the barbarians, the people who are outside of civilization, so to speak, and the
Mhm.
lives of real people led. And just show that depicted in a realistic way. And it doesn't have, they are the ones who constantly picked, the Vikings. You could pick anybody, but
Yeah,
show
I
us
mean,
that and write it well, and people will come to the films, to the movies again.
yeah, and originally, like, I mean, there was a while ago, because I was just thinking, like, what other cultures, and one of them that came to my mind immediately was Genghis Khan. And,
Mhm.
but originally, I remember Netflix had a show called Marco Polo, and I really liked that show, and it was about Marco Polo's, dealings with
Oh.
Genghis Khan, and it was
Oh, I
really
didn't see
freaking
that.
cool. Oh my god, Jane, it was so cool, and then they got canceled because it was not enough people were watching it, and the budget for that movie was
Mm.
insane, and they did some really cool battles, and they did some really cool, like, I mean, it was just a really cool series in general, and then they just fucking pissed it away. I don't understand why, but that was so well done. That was when Netflix was, like, on point with their shit. Like, I don't know what happened. See, Spike agrees with me. That was a
Yeah.
great show. I was so bummed out when it got canceled. I was like, this is why we always get shit.
There were
Because
people, um, I think they were called the Maine in West Africa. And they were very similar to the Vikings in how they basically swept across the coast and raping, pillaging, that whole reputation, tough warrior people, warrior culture. Um, where's that movie?
right.
It's like you have the stories out there, you have the history, the entire
Mhm.
history of Earth. You can't continue to get mad just because you choose to tell a European story for whatever reason,
Mhm.
and people want authenticity. I love this film for how accurate it was. I didn't need to see Black people pigeonholed in there somewhere, just showing up randomly.
Oh, you were disappointed. So you weren't disappointed in not seeing yourself in the movie.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could have, like, really used a Persian girl in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it would have been really nice to see myself. Not, I can't even do it. No, 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 no. This movie was fucking perfect in every way.
Perfect.
And it's so crazy because, okay, so I'll tell you this part about, because since we're on the topic of other cultures and other movies, and I was talking
Mhm,
about the Persian story, there's a Persian story, and it's really, really famous, and it his the character's name is Rostam. Okay,
mhm,
Rostam is basically our Hercules. He was kind of like a very strong paladin. Some would say he may have been touched by gods because he was so strong. He
mm.
was incredibly strong, and he was a warrior, and he fought for Persia, and it was a very, very cool story. And one of his final stories, and I remember this, I still remember this because I remember when I read the story. Well, I didn't read it when I was being read to because I was so young. I cried and screamed and, like, just went insane because the protagonist of that story, his name is Sohrab, and my cousin's name was Sohrab, and I went
Oh,
crazy because of what happens to this person in the story, because he dies, and I went
no.
crazy. But, like, it was just like a very memorable thing. And the story is this. So really quick, I'm going to paraphrase the story. Um, and it is, and mom, if you're watching, please, I'm just paraphrasing the story. Don't get on me about how I got so many details wrong, because I'm not gonna remember. I'm telling you, she's watching this show, and then she's gonna call me up afterwards and be like, "You totally butchered our heritage. How dare you?" My mom's gonna be like this, like, after the stream. I'm telling you right now.
How dare you?
Get ready for me to butcher this freaking story. So there's a story called Rostam and Sohrab. Okay, so Rostam is our paladin, Sohrab is his son. But how it happens is that so Rostam through different things becomes a king at some point because of the wars. Because this is kind of like a story that goes like it's kind of like a saga. Like there's different
Mm.
stories of him, and this is his final story. So his final story is that he became a king, and in his own right because he was such a strong warrior and everything like that. But before he did, he was fighting in this other country where like the Persia was having a war with his country and blah blah blah, and he falls in love with the princess of that country and they
Mm.
have a child outside of wedlock or whatever like at the time. And he
Oh.
can't stay there because he's the paladin for Persia, and he has to leave because he wins the battle there, but he knocks up the princess and he leaves and they can't get married because they're enemies and blah blah blah. So then he gives this medal, this like thing that he had to the woman, and he says like keep it for our son and give it to him, when he's older, so he knows that who his father was and that I loved him, and it took everything I have in me to like leave kind of thing.
Wow.
He leaves. Years pass by. The son grows up, becomes a paladin in his own right, becomes a strong warrior like his father, but he doesn't know his father. He's
Ooh.
always told like this and that, but he doesn't know who his father really is. Long story short, they end up fighting in like the right for whatever, and he kills the son. And when he does, he finally sees the thing that he had given his
Ah.
his girl, and he realized that he killed his son in battle.
Oh my
And
god.
like and as he's holding his son in his arms and he's dying, he realizes his son, and he's like, oh my god, or what have I done, like it's like that thing. And I've always wanted this to be a movie because I've always thought that this would be like this
Yeah.
epic story and this thing. And the reason that it made me think about the Northman was that the ending of the Northman reminded me of the story because of
Mm.
what happens to the girl and how she's pregnant and she has to go and give birth to a Northman's
Yeah.
children, and what will happen to them when they grow up, and will they know their father and who their father was, and like all this kind of stuff. So like it just kind of like brought back all these memories of this amazing tales of Iran and Persia and the things that we could have as media and we don't. And
Yeah.
I love these kind of
I
stories, these
wanna see that.
folklores. It's so cool, right? Like it's such a cool story. And I think it would be so, but it's so weird because a part of me wants to see it on screen, and a part of me is like, well, they're just gonna kind of ruin it.
Yeah. Whoever
Maybe if
did this movie, maybe they can do
yeah, whoever did
it.
this movie, can you please do that movie too? Oh my god, I'm seriously waiting for my mom to like text me right now and be like, you butchered that story. But getting back to the Northman though, and getting back to the idea that women have so much
Mhm.
power inside this world. One of the things that like one of the scenes, Jane, what did you think of that period scene? I died.
That
I
was
screamed. No joke. I was screaming in the theater when she did that. I was like, oh,
that
fuck, this
was
bit is hardcore, man.
so
Oh
funny.
my god. Did you scream? Did you what was your reaction? I need to know.
I was just more like, "Dang."
Damn is right. Because that was like one of the things that showed how fierce that woman was.
Mhm.
Like she didn't give two Fs. She was like, you know what? Like, nah, no, bro. Like, it's not happening right now. And this is why. And she like just like stuck her. I was just like, oh my God.
But I
Like,
mean, he was gonna rape her anyway, so it's
but
like
hey, you know what? That scene actually showed me that that uncle wasn't that brutal, because most brutal people, if they really want to, they'll do it anyway. They don't give a fuck.
yeah.
Instead, and in fact, what's weird about like what that scene was weird to me was that it actually showed me that the uncle wasn't as brutal as he could have been, because
Mhm.
other people would have done it anyway, and in fact maybe would have taken her hand or something too for doing that to the
Yeah.
king of that tribe or whatever, that because that was really incredibly disrespectful. but it was really funny because later on the when he was like, I'll give you that whore for when he won that game, right?
Yeah.
And then the son came to him and was like, I'll give you that whore for you to take or whatever like that. Because my father doesn't like her anyway because she's too stubborn or something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, like, because usually they would just kill women who were like that, or like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That showed me that uncle wasn't as crazy as some other insane people could be.
Well, some of the undisciplined soldiers were. I mean, we saw them attacking women in the street too when they invaded that village. But I think that that's why the film is so great, is because each of the main characters in particular are just so complex. I mean, we also learn later that it was his own mother who
Mm,
begged him to kill his own brother, you know? And so
yes.
it wasn't even that didn't come naturally, and it put that scene where we saw the murder take place in a completely different context, because now we know that he was being sort of forced, manipulated, or coerced into taking his own brother's life for this woman he thought he loved, I guess.
Well, okay. I want to talk about the mom because I still don't know. I still don't know. Hang on, let me get this. Wolfsbane, thank you so much for the 4.99. Says a great movie that features a great movie that features African culture is actually a war film called Zulu. Men that
Mm.
ran so fast that the British considered them cavalry. Ooh, might have to check
I
that out. Wolfsbane,
I
have you seen it?
think I may have seen that. I mean, I think there were a couple of movies featuring, the Zulu and some of the Bantu tribes. The only thing about those films, though, is that they tend to be set in the relatively modern era,
Mm.
but I would love to see, like, uh, some of the more tribal groups in this time period, specifically
Oh,
that we see that the Northman is taking place in. That era was so different from the sort of more modern era.
I'm looking this Zulu film up, and it says it's from 1964.
Mm.
If is that the one that you're talking about?
I think
Because
so,
that
it
that
was
could be
older.
interesting.
Yeah, there were a couple set, basically, documenting the contact between the English and the Zulu.
Yeah, Michael Caine is in it. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this movie out. This looks kind of cool. I've never watched this before. Okay, let's talk about this.
Mhm.
The Queen did it. Let's talk about this because I don't know. Here's the thing. At the
Mhm.
beginning of the movie, when we see it happen, and Amleth is watching his mother be dragged away, and she's getting dragged away, kicking and screaming.
Mhm.
He remembered that happened because we saw it as the audience member, and we know the difference between when the movie was being metaphorical or looking into the paranormal or showing us something that wasn't actually happening, but it actually was. But the way that it was shot in that scene
Mhm.
particular, to me, it showed that woman didn't want to be taken there. And if she did do it, she was either putting on an act at the time that she's being dragged away, or she wasn't. She wasn't a cat, like, she wasn't the person that set that whole thing up, and actually basically had Stockholm syndrome for her captors and fell in love with her captor and carried the child, and then, you know, and on, because I think that the original brother too was also his, right? Because I
Mhm.
think that he had raped her before or something, and that she had gotten pregnant. I didn't understand at the beginning if he had raped her or if they were just together because they thought that the uncle was dead, or the father was dead in the war. I'm not really
Mhm.
sure, but I think that I don't know. What do you think, Jane? Do you think she did it? Do you think she set up the whole thing?
I think we're supposed to believe, that she didn't wanna be taken, but looking back on it, it was through the eyes of the child. And so
Mm.
he may have been interpreting what he was seeing in that way because there was so much other horrific stuff happening around him at the time. And he just seen his father murdered.
Oh.
So all of that could have been shaping how he saw what was happening. But I never picked up on where the uncle's child came from, whether it was his child or whether it was a bastard child from somebody else.
I thought it was the queen's. I thought it was like that was the son of the queen and him. Was it not? I didn't
I
catch
don't
that because it was really early and like I said, it was a
I
while since
don't
I've seen it.
I don't think so. I think the black hair that he because he was also a bastard.
Mm.
Um and so I think that sort of signaled that their mothers were foreign. Which again is why I think the
Oh.
people calling it racist just don't see the complexity of the film because they were different. They weren't from this culture, or at least their mothers weren't, I don't think. Versus the little boy who was her child, who looked just like her and who was
Mm.
fair-haired and fair-skinned. So I think that it yeah, I
DJ
don't
is
know.
we
I
don't see
think
the
she was behind it though, because this is the other thing too with the queen. Like you said, like we don't see her face. We really don't
Mhm.
see much of her, and I think that's intended to be ambiguous until the end when she reveals to him what was actually happening and the fact that she had also been a slave, which takes you into the issue of
Yes.
how slave women felt how they felt about their kids, you know?
That's right, because she was also a slave, and that
Mhm.
w you're right, and the other thing that you said that I didn't really think about was what you said about that it was shown through his eyes, because this movie, his eyes through as a child, and
Mhm.
what you see as a child would be very different than what you would see as an adult, and, not emotionally connected to it the way that he was at the time. That's an interesting observation because this movie is very calculated in a way that it shows you who you're seeing the movie from the eyes of, or like what you're seeing in the scene that you're
Right.
seeing it as. Because sometimes you're seeing it through Amlet's eyes, but other times you're not. Other times you're kind of like the third person looking at it through a third person's point of view, not just specifically through Amlet's.
Mhm.
Um, that was the other thing that, like, totally tipped me off through, like, the name because when, like, they kept calling him Amleth, I was like, "Are they talking about Hamlet? Like, is this, like, some sort of play on words? Like, I don't know
I
what's going
know.
I don't know what's going on." Oh my god, that's hilarious. Maybe this is some sort of Depp and Heard situation. Oh my god. Yeah,
The
you can
tale is
say
all
that
this
again.
time.
Yeah, that tale is old as time for reals, like, holy. But yeah, so, like, that's really interesting, Jane, and you know what? Uber Geek said it too, like, the option 3 is that she was insane. I mean,
Mm.
maybe
She could
maybe
be.
she
I
could have been.
mean, imagine and I mean, I guess that's the part about, how, slave women navigated this world because she very
Mhm.
well may have hated him for raping her, for marrying her, for impregnating her. She could have very well hated her offspring. She could have hated his brother, but she's just doing what she has to do to survive.
She seemed to like his brother, though,
But
like, the
she
other one.
I thought so, but then when I thought about the things that she did, as far as manipulating him into killing his brother, it's like,
Mm.
how much could she really have loved him, or was she just moving on to this guy? Like, if he had been taken out by another guy, would she
Hmm.
have, been passed and become the next queen of this other guy's kingdom? Like, I think she would have,
That's
and
interesting,
she would
that's
have gotten rid of
interesting.
those kids too, and raised up the kid of the new king. I just
And
felt
that's
like that.
why I say, like, some of the stuff was very, like, Macbeth-like
Mhm.
because, even though, yes, it was the story of Hamlet in that sense of, like, the uncle killing the father and then the son going after the uncle and blah, 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 it had a lot of Macbeth elements with regards to the queen because the
Yeah.
queen was the one that was kind of like the puppeteer and setting up this whole thing and
Mhm.
controlling men from behind the scenes, and that's one
Mhm.
of the other factors of this tragic age old time story is that there are psychopathic women that can do a lot of harm and they use their wisdom and they use their wit and they use their,
Sexuality.
manipulation. They use their sexuality, they use their feminine wilds to get what they want, and they're very brutal about it in a lot of ways. It's just that their brutality doesn't come through in a physical form, it comes through
Mhm.
emotionally,
But
which
she
is
essentially
exactly what she did.
destroyed them,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
again goes back to, is she just an evil, terrible person? Is this her revenge? Because the film is about revenge. But
Mhm.
we always think about it from the perspective of the Northmen. But you also have this character who may be seeking her own form of revenge by bringing down this entire family or enslaving her.
Oh my god. Okay, so here we go. Here's someone who didn't like the Northmen. Says
Ooh.
Chris Wiz says Northman was a slow burn and disappointing. Soon as Amleth got on the boat, the story sucked. No
Mm,
conquest or action in a Viking movie. But that's the thing. It wasn't really just a Viking movie. It
no.
it was the story of Hamlet in a way. It was like a kind of retelling of that story,
Mhm.
and maybe going in that I wasn't expecting that either. I was going in to see a conquest a
Yeah.
conquest Viking story too, but I was pleasantly surprised though. Like I didn't mind where the movie took me. I thought it was very well done, and I like the story of Hamlet, and I like the retelling of these age-old time stories. So I didn't mind that fact, but I could see why someone wouldn't like if you go in there just thinking that this is going to be like 2 hours of Vikings killing each
Vikings.
other.
I kind of
Yeah.
appreciate it too, though, because I mean, to some degree, Vikings are sort of stereotyped in a way. And,
Mm,
I think Hollywood has portrayed that image of them when most of them were just farmers. A lot of them were just servants or slaves.
mhm.
And, they had lives like regular people. The story is a very universal story. It's just being told in a Viking culture. And
That's
I think
right.
that's the thing that may have caught some people by surprise, because it's not about the fighting so much as it's about the relationships between the people in this family.
Mhm. And, Spike here says, she said the brother didn't judge her for
Mm,
being a slave, unlike her husband,
that's true.
apparently. She
That's
loved the
true.
brother. That's what I thought too. I thought that she
Mm,
did like the son, but maybe not as much as I don't know, not as much as
it's so weird.
because he did wanna kill him, so I don't know. It
She
was weird.
did.
Uh,
It's and that's yeah, it's so complex.
It was very complex. Even that game that they played was brutal and cool, and I liked it. I was like, "This is so weird and cool." I like this, like, it like, what
It's like the precursor to something. What is that
yeah,
game?
it was really
Is it rugby? I don't
strange.
even know.
Is it what?
I was like, "Is it rugby?" I have no idea. I'm not a sports person.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like I was like, "Is this kinda like a mix of lacrosse and, like,
Lacrosse,
freaking"
yeah.
yeah, like lacrosse and hockey? Like, because well, hockey comes from lacrosse, so I'm like, is this kind of like a Norse lacrosse? Like, because they had, like, sticks with balls and they would just,
Yeah.
like, hit,
Proto-lacrosse.
yeah, rugby without rules. Yeah, like field hockey. Yeah, it was very lacrosse-like.
I
I was
liked
like
it.
I liked it too. I wonder if I wonder if Andre is gonna, like, talk about that in his video. Like, "Yes, this is a Norse game that we used to play, like, back in the day, when I was young."
The the dude
And
almost hit the kid. I thought that was so freaking crazy.
yes, like, d w
Like, he
it
can
was
get it too. He
brutal.
jumped in the game, so guess what? He's a player now.
Yeah, it was brutal. I like that though. I was like, "Damn," like, I mean, good. Don't freaking do that, kid. Like, you're stupid.
The
Like, you shouldn't be
kid,
jumping in there,
he's
man. Like,
gonna
what
die.
It was so crazy. But yeah, like I don't know, like I could see why some people would be a little bit like, well, what is this? Like, I wanted more action kind of thing. But I like cinema. Like I like the cinematic experience of not just mindless action like all the time. In fact, I think it's saturated. I think that's what
Mhm.
movies are nowadays. It's just like fast paced. Like let's just like just battle scene after battle scene after battle scene, like no substance. I mean,
CGI.
really like, look at what happened
Oh,
with Game of Thrones. Like, you had all these battle scenes and all these amazing things, but really what happened with it in the end? bupkis. Like it's like,
I
okay.
I hope Andre talks about the Valkyrie scene because I don't know. Okay, so like in Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
we have angels, right?
Yes.
And they're portrayed usually a particular way in entertainment. But in the Bible, some of them are freaking scary. And some of
Yes.
them are fierce, right? They are
Yes.
if you saw one in real life, you would probably die just because you're so terrified of what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that portrayal of a Valkyrie here. And I thought if that's true, that may be one of the first accurate portrayals we've ever seen. I don't know. I have no idea if they're scary or beautiful, but I thought I'd never seen anything like that before.
I
And I
think
thought it was
maybe
so
it's a
cool.
combination of both. This is the scene you're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
made me think of how angels are actually.
Y Yeah, I mean, this scene was really, really cool. I mean, this was right after one of the most
Ugh,
amazing fight scenes I've seen
yeah.
in a long time. I think probably since Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought that this was an
Mhm.
amazingly just choreographed fight between Amleth and the uncle. The movie had set it up the whole time. I mean, this was like God, I mean, this was so artistic. Men bare naked
Mhm.
fighting in this volcanic eruption, literally.
Yeah, the gates of hell, they call it.
The gates of hell. And I mean, that scene was so epic on so many levels. That's why I'm like, I don't like I try to understand a little bit where Chris is coming from, but then when you see that scene, I mean,
Mm.
it was everything. Everything. I mean, oh my God.
And it was believable that they would go to such a place to have this final showdown, like, in fact,
Yes.
I loved that they featured Iceland in it. It was just my god.
You must have been really happy because you just came from
Beautiful.
there.
I did, and so to see so much of it on screen was just unreal, but it's unreal when you're there.
Yeah,
Like,
I bet.
you get that feeling, like, how do first of all, you wonder how people survive there now, let alone back then.
Mhm.
And the volcanic eruptions, yeah, I mean, it's the landscape is insane. It's such it just changes depending on where you are, and part of it is very volcanic.
Mhm.
So, if they're gonna have this big boss showdown, why not? Why not go to the top of a burning mountain to do it? I
Why
thought it
not?
was
But it was
cool.
always set up though too, right? Like
Mhm.
it was set up that way, because they kept talking about it like throughout the whole movie. Like you will like this is how you're going to kind of like meet your
Yeah,
end, kind
yeah.
of thing. Like that it was talked about. I'm trying to see if I can find even yes, okay here,
But see,
just
they
because.
subverted my expectations because I thought it was gonna be, like, on a burning, like, ship or something, like, the ships are on fire, but no.
Oh, no, I knew it was gonna be the volcano because they showed it, like, even in the vision, it showed it was a
Yeah.
dream or whatever it was, they showed it. I
Look
mean,
at
that
that.
oh my god, like, when he's fighting, like, I keep having to, like, re-show this part because, I mean, this it was so cool, like, the way oh, it was just so cool the way he set it up and the way, like, the uncle was and he was, and they just kind of show up and in their
Yeah,
manliness and just like shed their clothes and they are who they are. This is a fight to the death. They know they're both going to die. Like no, neither of them is leaving that place alive,
yeah.
and they're there. Oh my god, like just dripping masculinity. The
I
amount of
know.
masculinity in that movie, I was like, oh,
Dripping.
just good lord. And the other thing was that that's one of the other things, Jane, is that cinema in recent years has been so saturated with women that I'm so sick of women. I know that sounds really fucking weird to say, but it's just I'm like, God, not another movie. Like every time I see something with like more women in it, I'm like, not another movie with more women. Like, can we just Can we get one man movie? Like, I just want to look at men. Like, I like men. I want to look at men.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily mean like, naked man movies. Okay. I'm talking about just men in general, being protagonists and antagonists and like actually
Mhm.
like having something to do in their movies. And it's like,
Besides being either super dumb or super girly.
or sexist or
Oh, yeah.
weird or
Weird.
it's just I don't know. It's they're not doing it well. They're not, especially in Hollywood. You're not seeing that. I mean, I want to see that other movie RRR because that looks like
Right.
it's dripping with masculinity, but that's Indian culture. So it's like, I get that would be like more
You kinda
masculine.
have to go there to get your fix, honestly.
Exactly. Why do I have to go to freaking Bollywood to get my masculine? But my God, Alexander Skarsgård, my
No.
God. Ah, damn.
Ugh.
God, I can't like
And
speechless.
there were so many guys in Iceland who look like this.
Oh yeah? Tell me
Yes,
more about this, Jane.
yes. It's not a stereotype. This is how they look, just gorgeous.
Good Lord.
Tall,
I mean, this man,
fit,
he's beautiful.
beautiful, with those accents.
You watched True
Yeah.
Blood, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
I
like,
love everything but the last season.
I mean, yes, me too. But okay, I love everything but the last season, but also not that part where that dude got raped, her brother.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
God,
That
that
was
was so
weird.
stupid. That was like a rape for like 4 episodes. I was like, sorry, side note.
That was
But
weird.
when he was in that, like, I was like, God, this guy's so hot. Like, but his body wasn't as toned and good looking
Right.
in True Blood as it.
He's naturally very lean, and I think that's true. I read somewhere, this is really weird. It's gonna sound weird when I say this, but in terms of physical type, like the Norse apparently have a physique
Mhm.
very similar to East Africans.
Oh.
Tall, long limbed, sort of lanky like that.
Mhm.
And that's how he naturally is. So when you take that body frame
Mhm.
and then bulk it up, you get
This.
the closest thing to a god
Yes,
in a
like,
man.
I mean, this dude, like,
The snipping begins. Yes, it does.
yes, it does, Uber Geek. And you know what? We had seen it before, though. This is not the first time because this was not the first time. Alexander Skarsgård was also Tarzan. Let's not forget,
It
okay?
was.
This dude, he's got a nice body. He knows what he's doing. Wait, what the hell's going on here?
You know what else he's good in? Oh, I don't know what
Um,
that is.
I got
He's good
distracted.
in Mute.
He's good in what?
This movie called Mute, which very few people know about, but
Oh, I didn't know about it.
it's really good. He's really good in that, but he's not speaking in it because he's mute.
Oh my God, he's mute.
So you just get
Wait,
to see the fine him.
what is this movie? I want to watch it. I like Alexander Skarsgård. I don't only like Alexander Skarsgård because of his body and how beautiful he is. I think he's a really good actor.
He
So
is a
what is
great
this movie? I
actor.
want to watch this.
He's a good actor.
Is it wait, what? It's a sci-fi thriller? How have I
Yeah,
not watched this?
it's actually pretty good.
Jane, why aren't you telling me about these good movies? Okay, great. I'm watching. I'm watching it. I'm
Add it to
watching
the
this.
list.
This is happening. Zulu is happening. This movie is happening. God, this is amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited for this movie. And he's based. He is.
He is.
The
But
Uber
I
Geek,
mean, the
thank you so
whole
much for the
family
$2
is
though.
talented. Like every last one of the guys in that family is hot and a good actor.
I know. Dude, his brother is a freaking amazing actor. I saw him like one of the roles that he was it in the new one, but
Mhm.
I saw him in this other movie, The Devil All the Time, with actually Tom Holland and
Mm.
Robert Pattinson. He was phenomenal in that movie. They all were.
You
They
talking
all were.
about Bill?
Yes, Bill
Yeah.
Skarsgård was in that movie, and he was phenomenal in that movie. That movie, I can't recommend that movie
Oh.
for everybody because that movie is insanely depressing. Like it's a very depressing movie, but it's also very good. Like it's very, very good. So if you're into dramatic, depressing, crazy movies, definitely watch it. Like it's a very good movie. It's just very heavy. It's a very
There's
heavy movie.
a television series. If you like vampires and like werewolves,
Mhm.
Hemlock Grove.
I've heard of Hemlock Grove. I've never seen it though.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing.
3 seasons. Bill Skarsgård is in this, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, so does it have an ending, Jane?
It has an ending.
Okay, great.
Not the best ending, but it does have an ending.
Okay, it's fine. As long as it's
It's good.
got one, I'm okay. That's okay.
It's a really good series though.
Wait. Oh, no, I thought it was Robert Pattinson for a second, but it's Landon Liberian. I was like, "Wait, Robert Pattinson says," but it's not. Never mind.
They're
Okay,
and the
I
thing is
might have to watch this.
they're such good actors and they're so good in what they choose to be a part of. That if
Mhm.
they're in a thing, I'm pretty much on board.
Yeah, me too. I mean, even with the father, and
Mhm.
Chris is right. The entire Skarsgård family is Hollywood royalty. They kind of are. I mean, but they don't pick shit movies. They've got a good
Right.
track record. They're really good actors, and you know what? I'm down. Whatever they're in, I'm like, yes. Actually, the other day, I heard that I think it was you that posted it. Actually, that the Crow was getting a remake or a reboot or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
With not Alexander,
Bill.
With Bill Skarsgård. And I don't usually like any of the remakes or anything like
Mhm.
that. But if anyone's gonna be in it, I think Bill Skarsgård would be actually a great cast for The Crow.
Right?
So I think it really will depend on the script. And I love The Crow. The Crow is one of my favorite movies of all time. But I think that if they do it well, if the script is done really well, I think he's gonna pull it off, no problem. I have no doubt that he would pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
If
yeah.
anybody can do it, he can.
Yes, Alexander Skarsgård, Lugna says, was dynamic in today's NASCAR race in Talladega with a call for drivers to start their engines. What?
What?
Are you just messing around with me? I don't know what that means. Did that really happen? I don't even know anymore. I could never tell if I'm being trolled in chat or not. But okay, so back to the movie though.
Mhm.
So I the mom's interesting. I really thought at first that maybe she had like Stockholm syndrome and she had like fallen in love with her captor, but you made me think about maybe that's not how it was. Maybe she really was manipulative and like but manipulative in a way that like, you know, you can't feel meaning like you can't fault her because she was a slave and she went through such a crazy thing in her life and all the trauma and all these experiences obviously are going to fuck you up, like
Mhm.
the living during that time in that era and dealing with the things that she had to deal with, it's going to affect you in certain ways psychologically, obviously.
Yeah, I think she was nuts too to some degree.
And that was the other part, right? So like in the end when she finally died, when he killed
Mm,
her, it was such a beautiful and tragic scene in so many
mhm.
ways because I when she looked up at him and she said, "Thank you," I kinda, like I felt bad for her, but at the same time, I didn't not because I was like, "You're such a psycho bitch." But it was but I felt bad because I know in those stories, like, you don't ever wanna kill yourself because, like, they have such a big thing about, like, not killing themselves because
Yeah,
it's,
you
they
don't go
can't
to
you don't go to
wherever.
Valhalla, right? Like,
Right.
it's, like, one of those things, and I think that she wanted him to, like, she wanted him to kill her, and she was saying the most horrible things to him so that he does, like, and I
Mhm.
felt like it was almost like she just and that's why I couldn't tell, like, I couldn't tell if some of the things that she was saying was true or not because I felt like maybe she just wanted to die so badly that she was saying those things so that he would do it. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, and these are the things that are so good about this movie and this performance because it makes you think over and over and talk about these things over and over. That's right, to die in battle, to
Yeah.
die by another person's sword. And I think like that was part of it. Like, so like seeing him as a child, seeing her in that position and like remembering that she didn't want to go. And then in the end, the way that like and how she treated the king, like the uncle throughout the series. And she was kind of loving towards him and like didn't seem like she was manipulating him all the time. It felt weird. And like I don't know. And then you think about the very beginning scenes, like, you know, her and the king together, which was
Mhm.
played by Ethan Hawke, by the way. And Ethan Hawke was so good in this movie. Like
Yeah.
everybody was just so good. That's why I'm like, I'm so upset right now about Ethan Hawke because I'm like, why wasn't Ethan Hawke in Marvel when Marvel actually was good? Because right now in Moon Knight, he's the only thing that's fucking keeping that series alive. Like
Oh my
he's
god.
so good, and he's completely wasted in Moon Knight right now. But it just like I he was so good. And then you see the scene where she's with him, and then he comes home from battle, and he comes
Mhm.
home, and, like, you know, all this stuff. And she goes, like, you know, you haven't seen me in months. Take me to bed, you know,
Mhm.
like, and she's his wife. And you can't tell if she really does love him or not, because later
Right.
on you think to yourself, was that just like what she was saying? Because, you know, she was lying to him and to herself, or like,
I think
or did she really love him? Like, we don't know. I
I
don't know.
you don't, and I think they play it that way, but when she revealed the slave scar, to me, that's what changed my perspective on her,
Mm,
because she could be replaced, right,
mhm,
by any of these kings very easily. So she could go, and I think there's even a line somewhere in there, in the film about how quickly you can go from, you know, being a king to being a slave. It the same applies to queens, right? So
that's right.
she had to play her position, so to speak,
Mhm.
and have these heirs for the king and maybe get that king killed, upgrade to a different one,
Mm,
and,
that's
hope
right.
he treated her better, and so on and so forth. Oh, no, we lost Nina. So what did you guys think about the Northman? Oh, she's back.
I boomered. Pull up
Let's
a
see
picture,
what the chat had to say.
and then I, like, pressed back on the StreamYard thing. I was like, I'm sorry. Sorry, I boomered it.
Yes, Slasher, that was Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, I was trying to find a picture of Ethan Hawke in this movie, and I did, but then, you know, when you, like, find a picture of like, in Google,
Mhm.
and then, like, you're like, "Oh, this is a great picture, I'm gonna click on this," and then you click on it, and it goes to, like, the freaking Washington Post or something,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Please pay to look at this picture," and I'm like, "I just, you know what? I'll just share my Google scene." But yes, there he is. He was the father in the Northman.
And he
There he
seems
is.
like a loving, caring father. Um, the only reason he didn't sleep with the wife I thought was really funny was because he was so seriously injured, he thought he would die.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. He's like, "I'm not gonna die in my sleep, woman. I gotta go do some shit. Like, I gotta get the sun ready to take over because I'm gonna die." Like, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
that is so hardcore. He's like been stabbed in the stomach. He's like freaking bleeding out. He's like, whatever, I'm gonna make it home and I'm gonna tell my son, you know, you gotta keep, you know, you're gonna be the king now. Gotta, you know, get him ready, even though he's like freaking 12 or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know how old was he? Like 9, 11?
something
I
like
don't
that. But he was the same age apparently when his dad or I can't remember if he said his father or grandfather took
know.
over.
His father was, yes, you're
Mhm,
right. Yeah. And again, it shows the brutality of that world, right?
mhm.
It was really, really well done in so many ways. There he is coming home. There's just so much good stuff in this movie. Um,
Here comes 200 West.
oh my 200 Watt Studios. Thank you so much for the $2. Says Nina, please do it muskrat. That's hangry noise. I don't even know what that. No. You know, you could have at least named an animal that's like to do with the north places in freaking I don't know what's a Norse animal? I don't even know. Like horse, I guess. I
Horse,
don't.
I guess.
He's asked me to do a horse
A
noise
sheep.
before. It's not happening. 200 Watt Studios. But thank you for the $2. You're always welcome to ask me for noises that I'll keep saying no to. Good freaking God. Wait, what? Why is Nina doing a southern accent for a Viking? Oh my God. Is that what that was? It just came out. I don't know. Wait, what? Lugna says I tweeted a URL to the article for Alexander Stargard in Talladega. Okay, let me look. I'll take a look.
Reindeer, direwolf.
Let me look. A dire wolf. Okay, I can do that. Hold on. Dire wolf. Ow! There you go. There you go. And that was for free. First one was for free, 200 Watt Studios.
Talk about supernatural elements when he used the howling to get that dude's dog to attack him.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was cool. That was cool. Man, there's so many cool things about this movie. Speaking of that, also like my God, the music was so good, so traditional, lovely. Like, I mean, it was so just exactly what you wanted. Like, you're not gonna get like, pop culture music in the middle of a freaking Northman movie. Like, I was so like sometimes I get really disappointed in soundtracks and movies because like it'll be about something and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's Rihanna's new single, and I'm like,
It doesn't fit.
it doesn't go like you don't have to put freaking top 40 and everything, like
I did like in Moon Knight. Well, literally at this point, the only thing I liked in Moon Knight was episode. I want to say episode 2 or 3, where he wakes up in Egypt or something. It may have been at the end of the second one, the beginning of the third. But basically, they finally get around to including an Egyptian soundtrack.
I was just going to say that, Jane. The only thing that I'm enjoying about the Northman, the Moon Knight is the soundtrack. That's it. Like the only thing. Like I love that's like the song that they ended the thing with at the second episode. I was like, yes, like freaking Arabic rap is amazing, and they're finally fucking acknowledging that it even exists, and I'm like, finally, like it's I don't know, it's really well done. Like whoever's doing the soundtrack and like the sounds stuff for Moon Knight is on point. Like I'm like that. This
the
is
only one with talent on the project.
100%. The only person. That and the person that's like designing like the actual like end credit scenes and stuff like that. Because I thought the end credit scenes is like really good. Like
they are good.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the show. It's better than the show. It is. I'm like, I'm waiting for it to end so I can watch the end credit scene again and like freaking listen to the song like that. I'm like, okay, like that's not supposed to be what a show is supposed to be like. But okay, never mind. We're not shitting on Moon Knight. This is not the stream for it.
So another song I liked was The Girl Who Was Being Sacrificed. That was such an emotional moment.
Which one? I'm sorry. 200 Watt Studios for $2 says, Nina, please do Norse Raven that's angry, hungry, and ruined your beautiful point. Well, thank you, 200 Watt Studios. No. What? Okay, which scene are you talking about? When she was being sacrificed.
Yeah, right. With the horse. I guess she was put in the boat too, along with the son, the oldest son.
That's right. And she was singing and everything. Like I was like, dude, like I actually didn't think that was one of those shocking scenes for me because I didn't think that she was going to be sacrificed. I was like, well, she's got such a beautiful voice. That's like that's such a waste. Like why are they killing her? Like I was so confused.
That's another thing I need Andre to discuss. Like, was that I knew about the horse. But I didn't know they put a person in there as well.
I knew that they sometimes did, like especially virgin sacrifices, like were a thing back then. But I didn't know they would do it to such talented people, though. I was like, really? Like, I mean, I thought it was, Maybe like it was like, the butcher's like, and not the butcher, like like I don't know, farmer's daughter or something. Like, you're not getting like the
Just kidding.
butcher's like, I don't know.
Maybe
It's
she
just
was
so
intending to
talented.
sing him into the afterlife or accompany him in that way.
Maybe. See, this is why I'm looking forward to Andre's video. I hope he talks about that
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
We need to give him a
Um,
list of things he
yes.
needs to cover.
I was gonna invite him for this, but it's like it's like 3 in the morning there, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't think he's gonna make it." But
DJ said she was a volunteer. She probably had to be to
um,
sing like that.
maybe if
Because
she
I would
was
have
like,
been screaming the entire there's no way.
well, she was willingly doing it, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
She was very willing about it. She was like his simp, and she's like, "I'm gonna give my life for
His
you."
biggest fan died with him.
Damn. Dude, that takes simping to like a whole other level. It's like,
Infant sipping.
oh my oh my god.
That's how they did it back then.
The Uber geek says Nina's going to hate me when she checks Twitter.
Oh,
No, what did
no.
you do? Oh no. Should I check now, Jane? I'm scared.
Or you could be surprised.
I hate you. I saw it. Oh no. Good Lord. I'm sharing it. God damn it, Uber geek.
Look at that picture, though.
It's not just me, Uber
Oh my
geek.
god.
It's not just me. Jane is here too. It's
This
just
is
you
why I'm
can't
not
see
on
her
camera.
face. That's right. You know what? Jane is smart. This is why Jane doesn't go on camera because of BS like this. Thanks a lot, Uber geek. Oh my god. It's not a lie though. It's not a lie. But it wasn't over the member. It was over the abs. Like my god, the abs.
Yeah.
That's enough of that.
He worked out. That's for sure.
I mean, he definitely worked out more than not Robert Pattinson did in the Batman.
This is
Robert
true.
Pattinson needs to step up his workout game, man. Okay. What else do we need to cover? Okay. The girl,
Okay.
the love interest.
Mm-hmm.
She was great. I liked her performance. I actually wasn't expecting much from her because I've seen her in some stuff and I was like, she's okay.
Yeah, she's
Like
okay, but she was good in this one.
I thought she was really good in this. I actually was very surprised how
Mhm.
how strong of an actress she was in this. And it was very surprising.
I loved her end scene. That entire
God,
performance on the ship, on the boat.
that oh my god, like that, and that's what I was talking about when some of the performance, like when it came through, it's like she just, I mean, I don't know where that she summoned that from, but when she was like doing that
Mhm.
in her
The
own language
spell or
and in her,
whatever.
oh my god, it was
Oh, that was
so well
amazing.
done.
I could watch that again.
I want to watch this movie again. It was so good. It was so good. The Uber Geek for 5 says tradition dictates. Oh God. That once a slave dies with the master so that she can serve him in the afterlife.
okay.
Oh, and stop simping. No, I
Mm-mm.
can't.
Do you see this man?
The Uber Geek, listen. Okay, listen. In a world where freaking fat people are taking over and telling everyone like this is healthy, like support me in my lifestyle. I'm like, bro, no, okay, this is where no, okay, you need to look like this, and if you don't look like this, at least try, at least go to the gym like once a week or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, like put in some freaking effort because it's not working out. Whatever is going on right now is not working out. And like I was like, yeah, I was listening to Brittany Venti talk about this, and she was saying how like dad bods are a cope, and I freaking agree. I think this whole dad bod thing is a cope. Like, stop
Do you
using.
think so?
Yes, stop using like having kids as a reason to get lazy and not go to the gym. Okay, women, okay, they have an excuse because they carry the kid and then they like give birth and their hormones mess up and blah blah blah. But even women, like, no, get off the freaking couch, go to the gym. get it back. You can get your body back if you put in some freaking damn effort. And
I think you can.
I'm tired of this culture of like let's just fucking cope and like just eat
Just
chips
not
on the
care.
couch and then expect nothing to be a fucking balloon. Like I don't understand.
I think
I don't understand
people, yeah, I think that there's so many other issues with that though. Like people just don't care.
Shut up, Uber Geek.
But Skarsgård is a whole different level.
I mean, yeah, we're not expecting you to be Skarsgård. Just make an effort, okay? That's all we're saying. But yeah, like
but if you want to be a Viking, by all means, we're
put
not
in the
going to
work.
stop you.
Yeah, and we will like it, and we will drool over you. We're not. I don't care about that. Like
Okay.
I'm fine with my choices. Look, listen, I am a red-blooded female. I like looking at men in my movies. I like
Well,
women too. I like looking at men and I don't care. Like I don't think that I don't think,
not a bad
look but don't touch. I don't think it's a crime to have.
thing. Hollywood may think it's a crime now, but
Yeah, and leftists, like, like
yeah.
leftists think that it's like something to not like it shouldn't happen. And it's like, no, like people are gonna look like, that's why there's this whole thing about the female gaze or like the
Mhm.
male gaze. It's like stop. No, like, the male gaze is something that has been going on for centuries, millennia, thousands of years. You know why? Because we need to freaking reproduce. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. We need to keep the freaking human species going.
Well, they don't want that. That's why they're switching up the genders and everything. So
Right. That's right. I keep
they don't
forgetting
want
that men can get
this.
pregnant now. I don't.
This movie is like their worst nightmare. It sets their
I know.
movement back 100 years.
Wasn't there a birthing scene in this movie too? I remember
I
something.
don't remember.
I don't remember. I forget. What it was. Oh my god. Yeah. I saw a tweet earlier today actually by somebody that said like, can I get a statistics of how many men how many men have died in childbirth? And I was like, like it's just like that's so ridiculous because you think about it. You actually think about how there's some people that really think that men can get pregnant, and you're like, bro, no, like it's not happening. But yeah, so like the girl was good. Nicole Kidman was good.
Mhm.
No, you know what? Not good. They were all great.
Amazing.
Willem Dafoe, I mean, always blows it out of the water.
Oh yeah.
Just very unexpected appearance, but it was really cool to see him in this. Ethan Hawke, fantastic. What else is there to talk about, Jane? The battle scenes were great because I mean, I thought the battle scenes were really, really good and well done in
Mhm.
terms of like, especially in terms of like they were gory and they were like very real, but
Yeah.
they weren't overt. Like I didn't feel like, oh man, like sometimes I get a little bit like I'm a girl, so sometimes I get a little queasy or whatever. I'm like, oh, I gotta look
Yeah, there
away.
were some scenes where I looked away,
I
but
didn't look away once in this movie.
really? I
Yeah,
did. I
I
did.
didn't. I was proud of myself. I was like, wow, I didn't look away once. Like it
It
was
it
it was
it
surprising.
gets kinda gory. It gets kinda gory
Just a little bit.
a little
But
bit.
I didn't think it was
But
overt though.
it wasn't overdone for sure.
No.
And
No.
they showed brutality in many different ways. So it wasn't just sword fighting. Like when they put the people in the longhouse and set it on fire,
Oh,
like that happened
that's brutal.
back
Yeah.
then. That was incredibly brutal, but that was just one variety of the different ways they portrayed the violence of society at that time. So they were pretty creative in this film too.
Yes. Yes, they really were. 200 Watt Studios for 5 says if you wife don't think men attractive, then start asking why she married me. I know. It's like I
Well,
don't get it
a
anymore.
lot of that people with that mentality aren't really getting married anyway. Like they're just
That's very accurate, Jane.
in group relationships or whatever you call them. I don't even know.
Yeah, or that, or like they're in love with themselves and they're not they're not getting married. Like Emma Watson and how she's like, I'm married to myself now. I'm gonna marry myself.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because you can't get a man because you're fucking weird. Um Wolfsbane for 2 says needs more male gaze, not enough frontal nudity.
Well, you got both. That's
You know, we got both. I thought we did get like I was expecting a little bit more female nudity. If I'm not gonna lie,
really.
I actually was expecting a little bit more female nudity, but I'm glad that it wasn't. Like I thought it was tastefully done and everything
Hmm.
was done really well.
It had a
I
purpose.
thought there would be more of it because, and the reason I say that is because usually when you go into movies like this, they try to do everything over. They try to,
Hmm.
do the violence over. They try to do nudity over because, they because of the shock factor. And I think a lot, like, that's why this movie is so good, because everything to me was done in very, decently and with purpose. Like everything
Hmm.
had a purpose. Even the nudity scene had purpose. Like it wasn't this like,
Right.
oh, okay, we're gonna show a random titty shot. Like it was like,
Hmm.
okay, they're making love, and people get nude when they're making love. Like it's just like, that's the way it is, so you're gonna see some nudity. um I think that was pretty much all the nudity there was. I don't remember.
It was tasteful.
It was very tasteful, and then, like, yeah, and also the making love scene wasn't, again, it wasn't overt, like, it wasn't
Mhm.
super like, "Oh, this is, like, like,
I
this is
I
borderline
actually
porno," like, it wasn't like that.
it wasn't like that at all, and they established I like that they established a real relationship between these 2, like, it developed over
Yes.
the course of the film, and you could believe that they would be in love with one another and have mutual respect for one another as well.
Yes.
They were able to accomplish that in this film, which I thought was really great. Um,
Yes.
the other point that's kinda related has to do with the landscape. And the fact that they were in the hot spring together, which I
Mhm.
thought was really cool because you do have those all over Iceland. Like,
Mhm.
that was kinda cool. I love
That's
that.
cool. Did you get in one of those?
I did not.
You
I did not.
didn't?
No, but I saw them.
Oh, I would've so gotten in. I would've been like, "Alright, I'm getting in here."
It was a little too
Um
weird, but that was perfectly normal.
That's funny because I went to a Scandinavian spa in, Vancouver, because we have one, and they have the hot springs, and then they have the cold,
Mhm.
but obviously it's all, like, manufactured, but it's like it was really cool, and I did it,
Yeah.
and it at the
It's something
time, it actually cured me of, like, my, I had a foot problem, and, the guy, like, that was doing my massage and stuff like that, the massage
Mhm.
therapist, was like, "You need to do the cold," because I was like, "I'm not getting in the cold, like, there's no fucking way I'm getting
Yeah.
in the cold pool, like, it's not happening," and he's like, "You need to do it, it's gonna be amazing, don't not do it." So it's like, like, after you go to the hot tub, you have to, like, jump in the cold pool, and I was like, "I don't wanna do this," but I did it, and it was freaking
Apparently,
fantastic.
it's good for you.
It is, I can attest, it cured me. I was like, "Oh my god, this is like," and then, when you become pain free after, like, weeks of, like, feeling, like, a lot of pain, and you're like, "Wow," it's just like it was like a miracle. So this was really cool too. Yeah, that scene. Ooh, and then the other part, that's related to this, because you reminded me, because it was right after Amleth had gotten into a really big battle and
Mhm.
was injured, and this was an interesting scene because it was one of those scenes where, like, the woman rescues him, but not
Mhm.
really, because he had already basically done everything.
Mhm.
She just had to basically help him, like, on the horse, and then, like, the next thing we knew that he would, like, they were away from that place, and they
Right.
had gotten away, and then they were, like, getting into the tub or whatever, and I thought that was an interesting scene because it didn't show, like, she's a strong, independent woman, and she's gonna
Right.
rescue him, like, she's gonna, like, come with a sword and, like, get rid of the other guy, and then, like, show her, like, carrying him and, like, putting him on the horse and, like,
Right.
blah, 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 like, they didn't go overt into, like, how strong and, whatever this woman is. It was very realistic in the way it was done because Amleth did all the physical stuff in order
Mhm.
to, survive that encounter. And then like I think that it was basically portrayed the way that it was so
Mhm.
that like you can tell that when you're because in my mind in that scene when a man is like super injured but also is like kind of fucked up but also like you have your adrenaline going though, like
Mhm.
enough that even if you're so badly injured that you can probably make it to your horse
Mhm.
without necessarily like needing too much help. Like you'll get on there yourself, and then once you're there, you'll pass out and whatever, and she kind of like in my mind, she just guided him to it, and then he probably
Yeah.
got on himself, and then they were able to get away. Like
Mhm.
I didn't need to see her like lift him onto the horse and
Right.
like, 'cause that's the kind of thing that they do in, like, the norm like, the new
Oh, yeah.
Marvel or whatever. They'd be like, "Here she is," and,
He'd
like,
have the sword.
yeah, and then, they would make her look like a Valkyrie, and then they'd be like, "Oh, she's here as a Valkyrie rescuing him," or,
Mhm.
like, whatever. It's like, "No, no, 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 she's just a
She's
woman."
not a shield maiden.
Exactly. She's just rescuing her man because she doesn't want him to die, like,
Yeah.
and she's just like helping him get away. And I thought
They're
that that
following
was
the
that was a really
plan.
good scene. It was a really good scene. It was really well done. Um, okay, so as Sour Cream Citizen says, Northman felt very grounded, as if the legend was told, but actually real Valkyrie, Odin, and all. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was so nicely done.
It was.
And
It felt like it's so weird to describe it this way, but it's watching the film was like sitting around a fire and hearing it being told to you. Like, you could
yeah,
really feel that, and I love when stories are told that way because it does. It
yeah.
feels very timeless.
God, it was like it was watching like a fairy tale, but like
Mhm.
in the modern era that's so rare. And in a way that makes me sad because I feel like we have so much potential. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, like, I mean, look at, you look at a film like The Northman or even Dune. You look at these really beautiful movies, and then you're like,
Mhm.
okay, we have the capability of doing this, but we're constantly just not doing it, and it's that part is a little sad, but then again, you kind of get this diamond in the rough, right? Like
Yeah.
this movie is that gem that we've all been just kind of like dying to see, and in a lot of ways, like I said at the beginning, it's a masterpiece, and
Mhm.
you got to watch it, people. If you haven't seen it, you are missing out. Definitely go and watch it. And I think with that, I've said all I need to say about the Northman. Is there anything else that you want to say, Jane?
The only thing I would say is I loved just everything. I love the set design. It felt, like I
Mhm.
said, very grounded. It felt very real and authentic. Like you could walk into the world.
Yeah.
And I love world building. That's my favorite part of film and television. So to see this world sort of recreated in this way, very authentically,
Mhm.
just is one of my favorite parts. It's just how they set the story itself, the writing, the actors, the direction, the cinematography, but the
Mhm.
setting. They really took their time and invested in that, and I enjoyed it every bit.
Yeah, me too. Everything you said, times 10. Yes, yes, to all of it. And it was just so beautiful. The scenery,
Mm,
I mean, just everything. I mean, I can't. It's so cool that you've gone there and you've seen like
yeah,
these things. It's
the landscape and how
the
they describe it is just amazing. It's otherworldly.
it is, and you know what? Like that's what movies are supposed to be like. They're
Mhm,
supposed to be worldly, especially like movies that are set outside of our time. You're supposed to be you were supposed to be transported to another time, and in this movie, you are like there is no 2021 logic in here. It's not woke. There's no weird. There's no weirdness. There's no identity politics. There's nothing. There's nothing of 2022 and 2020, whatever. Any like 2012 era of movies. It's not in it, and that's why they're so mad. That's why they're so mad because this movie is so good and well cast, well
mhm,
acted. It culturally speaking, they nailed it. in every way, and these leftists are going to lose their mind. Again, that's why you guys got to go watch this movie.
Support it.
Support this movie. You got if you got to spend money on movies and you're sick of Marvel, you're sick of DC, you're sick of all these companies doing bullshit with your money, go and support this movie. It's important. Just like, you know how we all went out there and supported Sonic, well, except me, because I didn't watch it. But everybody did that. Everybody should do that for the Northman as well, because I mean, what's the competition really? Like honestly, like, I'm gonna say it right now, like, Doctor Strange, it's gonna fucking suck. Like, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna watch Doctor Strange, you're gonna be like, wow, I just watched the Northman and now I'm watching this, and
I
it's
feel like it's gonna lack a lot of stuff because when I watched it, they played the preview for that, the theatrical preview.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it felt empty, you know, like it was just CGI on top of CGI. This is very different, and I think you'll enjoy it.
The CGI in this was also very well done and very minimal.
Very subtle, yeah.
Yeah, very subtle. I didn't see that much CGI, to be completely honest. Like, I thought that was one of the things I really liked about it, was how, like, not CGI. I was like, this is a fucking movie. Like, there's sets, there's costumes, like, you know,
Very practical.
they're very practical, very real, very grounded. You're not seeing like freaking green screens all the time. They're like actually in Iceland. Like, you know, it's not like, oh, okay, let's go to the desert and set up a fucking green screen. Like, you know, in some other movie that did that. It's pretty famous now. Oh,
Wolfsbane asked about the Lady in Red.
Which one was the Wolfsbane? Do you think that the horse riding woman in red after the raid and during the slave distribution was a Valkyrie? I think so.
I think
Yes.
she was too.
I think the Valkyrie was shown twice in this movie, and it was one in that scene, and it was the second time was when Amleth was going to Valhalla. I think I think it was. I thought the Tree of Life was really interesting, like all the metaphors of the Tree of Life. There's just, oh my god, there's just so much. There's so many metaphors.
So good.
And, like, all the drug induced trips were so well done. Like, all the, you know, well, whether they were drugs or not, like all the paranormal stuff was just so well done in this movie.
Incorporated so well.
Yes. The costuming was next level.
Yes.
It was so good.
Freaking amazing.
I mean, let me just pull up like at least like
whoever
one
did
image.
that should get an award of some kind.
Yes. I mean, who cares about the Oscars now, but they deserve an award.
They deserve it. They've earned it.
Let's see, the Northman. I'm trying to find a picture like of the Oracle lady.
They weren't. Here's the thing. I love Vikings, the TV show, but Vikings weren't rolling around in like leather outfits.
They were in that movie?
No, in the TV show.
No, in the TV show they were?
Yeah, they
Oh
were
my
rocking
God.
like really looking modernized outfits. But here you get the real thing. Very natural textures, and everything looked like it was woven and made in that world.
Yes. You know what I think okay, a bit of a okay, I'll say this because, you know, we've kind of been simping over this movie. So I'll say this as a critique. I did think some things were a little bit too dark. Like,
really?
I was like, yeah, just a little bit. Like, I was like, you know, you
part?
could have a little bit of like lighting in here.
Oh,
like,
the scenes.
yeah, like the scenes. Like, it was just so dark. Like, I was like, you can just put a little bit of lighting. I mean, I understand that they're trying to be grounded. Like, here's the Oracle lady. Like, this scene was so dark. Like, there was some scenes in it that was like incredibly dark, and I was just trying to like strain my eyes to see it, you know, like I was like, okay, what's happening in the scene? And I couldn't tell if it was my theater or like what it was. So I'm actually looking forward to watching this on my own projector, because I have a really nice bright projector that portrays the like black black scenes or dark scenes really, really well. So I'm like looking forward to watching it on my projector to see if there was a difference. But I thought there's a little bit of like too much darkness in this. I could have I thought it could have used a little bit of lighting in certain scenes. What did you think of that? Did you have that issue at all?
Not really. I kind of took it as these when he was in the scenes where it was really dark. I
Mhm.
think that sort of served the purpose of them coming through the shadows or something along those lines.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it was the same way, like, for, like, the nighttime scenes that they were doing, because it
yeah,
was like they were trying to say, and again, I understand that it was done in a method, like, this everything in this movie had a method.
yeah, it had a
So,
purpose. Yeah.
it had a purpose, that's right, and, like, for me, like, it was trying to show that this is a place with no lights, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is a place that you don't have electricity or candle, even candlelight, like you have very limited candles, like very limited lighting, and they're trying to show that there's no light pollution. So when you're looking at them in these scenes, it's very naturally dark. That's why the day scenes are super bright, because you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, in contrast in that, the day scenes are super bright. But I think that uh in that sense though, like I was like, like, I get what they're doing, but you don't have to be that realistic. Like, this is still a movie. Like, I don't wanna go blind trying to, like, look at your character on screen. So,
It
it
wasn't
w
as bad as Game of Thrones then.
no, it wasn't as bad as Game of Thrones, but it was still bad. I thought it
Ooh,
was
that was cool. That's a cool picture. I didn't see that one.
yeah, this is one of the posters apparently for the
Mm,
this is the Oracle. Apparently, this is Bjork. I didn't realize. Somebody said that this is Bjork.
okay.
She did
That's
really
cool.
good. She did really, really good.
And I love the costume.
It was fantastic. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, some of the costumes in this, I mean, not some, all of them. All of them was so good. The costume was so good. I mean, same with what's his name? The Green Lantern. Willem Dafoe's character
Mhm.
was also like creepy as fuck. Like, and I was just like, dude, this looks so good. So all of it looked just amazing. Really cool stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't usually see Bjork and stuff, and then you're like, "Wait, Bjork is in this?" And then she plays, like, this freaking crazy oracle lady, and she nails it. Like, I was like, "Dude, this is freaking good." Um, Bjork said she never wanted to act again after Dancer in the Dark. Well, Bjork has had some really crazy incidences in her life that I completely understand, like getting a stalker that freaking killed himself. That'll
Oh,
change a person.
so Yvonne did mention one thing. If I had a negative thing to say, it
Mhm.
would be that the accents shifted.
Okay.
It wasn't enough to take me out of it, but I did notice that.
Okay, hold on. Let me highlight this. Yvonne said that.
Mhm.
I see this. Is this one? No, this is CGI. Okay, there we go. This one, right? Been hearing
Mhm.
some complaints about the accents of the actors being all over the place, and the runtime a little long. But if those are the only complaints, it must be a damn good movie. I,
Yeah.
I'll say this: I didn't notice the accent thing at all, like
Yeah.
not even a little bit.
I
And
picked up on that.
yeah, I didn't.
Now the what is the girl's name? The actress Joy something, Anya Taylor-Joy. Her
Mm,
character, the love interest girl, she was better, I think, at maintaining her accent because it was very different. Like it wasn't the Norse accent. It was Slavic, I guess.
mhm.
She did a good job of maintaining it for the most part, but there were some times when she slipped, and Alexander slipped a lot. Like he slipped in and out of his, and it's weird because he is Scandinavian,
Oh my god, yeah,
but
but he's so
he
Americanized that he's
is.
like
So
you
sometimes he would talk like an American. It was just kind of weird.
I guess, yeah, now that you mention it, I guess, like, I could see that because sometimes he was just Alexander, and then sometimes he was, like, Northman Alexander, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" Like, now but now that I'm thinking about it, you don't really think about that until, like, later.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to like really focus on, okay, so what was bad about this movie? Like, like it's not so like, oh my God, like there's so much bad about this movie. Like, I don't know, Morbius, like we came here, we were like,
Right.
what the was that? Like, what did we just see? So it's like, yes, exactly. If those are the only issues with this movie, like, okay, like,
And I didn't
yeah,
have a problem with the runtime. I liked
I,
it. I
that's
would have
what I
been
was
happy with more.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I did not have a problem with the runtime at all. In fact, when the runtime, like when it was over, like I was like, it's over already. Like I was like, I want to know what happens to the lady and the kids and like all this
Yes.
stuff. Like I was like, I'm ready for a sequel. Like what? Like
Scared, but
uh,
ready.
I know, I know. But I was thinking about like because it made me think about, like I said, Rostam and Sohrab and that story. Like I was
Mhm.
like, oh, like the kids are gonna grow up without the dad, and like they don't know each other. Like, I want to know
Mhm.
more.
But what's
Um,
interesting too is it's the little girl who's gonna become the king apparently, which suggests that there may be a sequel just because they could get their left.
they did kind of suggest that too. Like it was kind of like I felt like it was hinted at
Yeah.
with regards to this. I just saw this and I thought it was really cute. Because they're clearly like just buddies and working together. That's cool.
Yeah.
Dude, this dude does not age.
He's a vampire too.
Like for reals.
Mhm.
She's beautiful. She's just freaking gorgeous. Aw. Wait, is he
Aw.
married? Do you think they're banging in real life?
I don't think so. And what is the age difference? I mean, he's so much older than her, I think.
That doesn't matter.
It should though. It would make it weird.
Oh, this scene, Jane.
He's like
This
45 and
scene.
she's well, she's 26. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. This scene is the one that we were talking about, guys.
Yes,
When
that
she's on the boat.
scene.
I felt like she like I was like, give her the award for that scene. Like I was
That was
like,
an amazing scene.
God, I mean, it just, oh, like the way she just, I don't know, the way she acted in that, I was like, man, this is what acting is supposed to be.
Right?
Acting. Like,
It's exactly like this is acting.
like it was so powerful. Like I was like, man, like you could feel her loss and her just,
Mm,
ugh, there she is on the horse. And she rescued him, kind of.
I loved her shawl too. Like I want that.
I know. I want one too. There they are. Oh, there they are.
In the field.
They were so in love. This was such a good movie, man. I'm telling you. Now I'm just like looking at the cast pictures. I don't know about this dress.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but it's making her ass look big.
Maybe that's what she's going for.
Oh my God. Wait, what is Nicole Kidman wearing in this?
See, she needs a stylist.
Nicole, girl, no.
Do
Like,
better, Nicole.
what is
Do
this?
better.
This is a beautiful dress. The white one is that's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
This, no. Nicole, you
She's
can't step
making
up your
she's
game, lady.
aging herself.
It's like I don't understand when I feel like when like female stars get like a little bit older, it's like they lose their fucking mind. It's like, what are you wearing? I don't like you don't have to look like an old fucking weirdo.
I think these days, like that's what it is in Hollywood. Like they get to a certain age and they start downplaying their sexuality, especially if they bought into the whole anti-woman thing.
Yeah. Wait, who's this? Is that the director? I think that might be the
I don't
director.
know.
Or maybe it's the dad. I don't
Yes,
know.
it is. He did a great job.
Wait, God, this movie was so good. You guys go watch it. Go watch it. If you didn't watch it,
True
you
Kang says he didn't buy their chemistry. I bought it.
what? I totally bought it. I thought they were banging in real life. That's how good it was. I was like, they gotta be, because usually like on screen love, like,
Yeah.
they're doing it.
Yeah.
Then again, like I don't
There's still
know.
a bit of an age gap though.
Well, there you go. Like there's somebody who that's a critique. Okay, they didn't by the chemistry. Um,
I loved how they portrayed the family tree and his sensing it through the blood.
yes,
Amazing. I love that element.
I
It
love
was
that
so freaking
too.
cool.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Guys, you have to watch this movie.
Yes, like there's just so many good things about it. Like, and it's so funny because we're gonna stop talking about it, and then I'm gonna go be like, "Oh my god, I forgot to mention this," and it's gonna be, because there's so many good things about the movie. But it's just like there's not enough. There's not enough hours to talk about how much more it was. It was so encompassing and so good, and also because we can't really show any of it. Like even the trailer, I can't really play it because I'll claim the damn trailer. I already got claimed on it once. I'm like, damn
Oh,
it.
it was so freaking good though.
So good. Okay, on that note, I think we've said all we need to say.
Go see the movie.
Yes, go see it. Go see it once, twice, maybe 3 times if you can. I don't
Yeah.
know, who cares? As many times as you can or
Tell
can
everybody
handle
about
it.
it.
Tell everybody, and tell everybody about this stream and the review so that they can come and watch it afterwards and see what we had to say about it if they want to see it reviewed. Otherwise, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It's been a wonderful review time. Thank you, Jane. You were so awesome for watching it and coming and hanging out with me so I can talk about it. I was dying to talk about it for days and days. So I'm so happy that you were able to do it. 200 Watt Studios for 2 says, you look beautiful today, Nina. Thank you,
Aw.
200 Watt Studios. That's so sweet. I don't usually do like the middle part on my hair, but it just happened to be that way today. So
It
thank
brings
you.
out the curls.
It kind of does, doesn't it? I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, because I don't know, because I usually feel like it's weird when I do it like this because it
Mhm.
feels like flat, and I'm like, I don't like it when it's flat. Like I like it when it's like poofed out more,
Oh.
but it like makes me feel like it's like flat on top of my head. Girl things. I'm sorry. But yeah, so thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. Jane, tell everyone where they
Yeah.
can find you.
You can find me here on YouTube where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory. Especially
Yay.
Twitch because I'm trying to build up my Twitch following.
Okay, let
So
me
check it out.
Did I put your Twitch in the description? I think I did, but let me double check.
If not, it's twitch.tv/Jane Theory.
I'm going to do it now, Jane, so I don't forget. Hold on a second. Let me check. No, I have Jane's Instagram. Okay, let me look at hold on. Twitch Jane Theory. There she is. I got the link and I'm putting it in the description right now. Should have done that before. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
And there it is. It's saving right now. And I'm also going to put it in the chat. There's Jane's Rich. Please make sure you are subscribed if you are into Twitch stuff. I put out a video earlier, so everybody go check out my video on Andy Dick. God, that was a crazy video. It took me forever to do, and it was crazy to go down that rabbit hole, but it's finished, and I'm proud of it. And so everybody go watch and share, and all that good stuff. And I may go on Simcast after this, possibly, but I'm really tired, so I don't know. And Monday, tomorrow, I'll be on Toxic Femininity with Midnight's Edge and the ladies over there and Tom. So check us out. I think tomorrow at 7 Eastern. Or no, wait, 8 Eastern, 7 my time. And I think that's about it. So again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, 200 Watt Studios. That's so sweet. And everybody, have a great day, great night, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, where is it? Ouch. Oh, God. Okay, we're going with Naked Tom Hiddleston because Teresa
Yeah.
loves it. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Naked Tom Hiddleston. Where are you? Wait, did I delete that? No, I didn't. Here it is. Okay. Bye.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I